evening, Leroy. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. I love that, when we started this podcast, I think we had a conversation that it was like, there might be some weeks where we might have to struggle getting show topics and things to talk about. Like, what will we always talk about? And then we have weeks like today where it's like, are we going to have time to talk about that? Because there's just, a couple of things have happened, right? Just one or two things happened today. It's just wild, everything that's going on. But how are you?
Not just today, man. It's been a busy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even we could literally just do a show just based on today and forget everything else that has happened and everything else that is going to happen. And today would be enough just to fill up the topics. But no, we've got plenty more. That's more of what I was saying. There's a lot to go talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously the big news came out this afternoon, kind of a bombshell. Nick Saban. We got to talk about that because yeah, right. The greatest, arguably maybe the greatest college coach, regardless of sport of all time, decides to retire.
I'll argue and say he's not the greatest, but he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
Ooh, I'd be interested to see who's higher.
Let's go.
No. In all seriousness, now who would you put higher than him?
No, I just figured you put him up there because of your SEC bias. But listen, the man's won six. Championships. So
6 championships. Yeah, no, he's whatever. That can be a conversation for another day. NFL playoffs, they start this weekend. We'll have our picks for that. We're going to talk about each game because there's some interesting matchups with that. Both of our rivals are in it, so we already know that the other person will be picking against said rivals. For that. NFL head coaching, there have been a couple of surprises in that realm, so we'll talk about that. College football playoff ended in a game that it wasn't a bad game.
I'm
not saying this as in all seriousness, it wasn't like it was it's not a memorable national championship game. I think you can agree with that.
I enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk about that as well. We got a lot to get to and then our typical weekly segments as well. So where do we start? We start college football national championship.
Yeah, we can do that.
So you enjoyed it.
I did.
And I guess
two Big Ten teams playing against each other. That's good.
Yes, because Washington is the epitome of the Big Ten. It's so why. It's like at least Texas somewhat feels kind of like an SEC school. But it's like Missouri. Missouri doesn't feel like the SEC. Like Kentucky last night played Missouri in a conference basketball game, and Missouri has been in the SEC for 10 years now, and it still doesn't feel like it's an SEC school. But I don't know. What was your takeaways? Because I didn't get to watch a lot of it because I was on air.
All right, let's see. How do I put this? I don't know how Michigan would have done against Georgia or against some of the other teams. But Michigan looked very comfortable in that game against Washington. They really did a good job of just kind of limiting what Penix was allowed to do and really played the game the way that they wanted to. With that being said, listen, Washington was legit. There was a reason why Washington had as good of a season as they did. I just think Michigan, at least in that game, was the better team, and at least in that game deserved to win. Now, again, I will say I'm glad to go to 12 teams next year. I will be the biggest advocate for it when we get to this next season. And if that means more SEC teams, then so be it. But at the end of the day, I think it's good for football.
Let's be real. You want to know the reason why we're pro 12-team playoff? Let's be honest. Because now Northwestern Kentucky might actually have a chance of making the playoff.
Right.
Because they were not going to make the top 4. They were never one of the top 4 teams. But they could be 11th or 12th.
Right. And the thing is, and I will say, when you go back the last couple of years where Northwestern was like the Big Ten West champions, they would have made the playoffs had those existed.
And Kentucky has had a couple of those years as well. Now would they have gotten annihilated in the next round? Probably. But it still would have been fun.
Yep. And that's just it, right? It's just like baseball. You have to give yourself a chance. And making the playoffs like that gives you guys a chance. So that's a big deal. And, it's one of those things where, I think when we look at this in the long run, it will become like because everything's switching next year, right? The Big Ten is getting rid of, divisions are getting eliminated.
So is the SEC.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where college football is gonna look a lot different next year. But yeah, I quite enjoyed the championship. It'll be interesting to see if it gets vacated here in the next 6 to 9 months. But when you look at it, I think they got it right. I think they got it right between the 4 teams that were in.
What I just hate is that I hate that Alabama beat Georgia. And why I say that is because I think Georgia, Michigan, that would have been the actual national championship. Like
Yes.
Those were the 2 best teams.
Yes.
And I think that would have brought maybe that game that and I'm not even saying that necessarily just because of the
I would
the
agree with
SEC
you.
portion. Georgia's legit. They just lost one game. And listen, should they have been in the playoff? No. They lost the game. Alabama deserved to be in over them because they won the head-to-head matchup with that.
Yeah.
But I still think it would have just been really interesting to see Alabama or Georgia play Michigan in that realm of a national championship game. And you could have had, Georgia against Texas, and then you would have had Alabama. That Alabama-Washington game would have been the semifinal or something in that realm with that, because Georgia would have been the number 1 seed in that and everything. Obviously, hindsight's 2020 when it comes to this. Jason, appreciate you watching. I do want to say, Jason, too, sorry to hear about your mom. Keeping you in our thoughts here with the show as well. But I think as a whole, I think the college football season, it was, I think, surprising in the realm of everything that happened with conference realignment and just everything that is going to be so different, like you mentioned. I think that is the biggest aspect of this to go along. It's weird. His comment works right now. It's odd that it works sometimes. It's just not always. Sometimes the clicker doesn't always work. But do you agree that it's kind of like the season of change, I think, is the best way to describe this college football, like you said?
And again, it'll be interesting in 5-10 years from now, taking a look at the college football landscape and seeing how different it potentially could look in just 4 or 5 years, which ironically, I think is one of the biggest reasons Saban got out. I think he sees the NIL. I think he sees the changes that are taking place in college football. Because let's face it, this isn't our dad's college football. This isn't college football that I grew up with. It's a very different.
It's not your college football.
Right. It's a very different game. I got you, Dan. Hold on. Push. It's a very different game. And because of that, I think Nick's tired. I really do. I think Nick's tired.
John, I see your question here. We're going to come back to that in a few minutes because we're going to talk about the NFL head coaching openings because I think it's really interesting. So I think right now you're mentioning Nick Saban. That's the big news of the day. It's wild because there was a head coaching opening that happened today that I thought was going to be the big news of the day with Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And then Nick Saban. And I love that Nick Saban, too, in probably Nick Saban realm, just a Wednesday at 3:30. We're just going to say, yeah, peace, I'm done, see ya. Like, he didn't do it last week, because I could almost have seen Nick Saban being the guy that Monday, like a couple of days ago, right before the national championship, about 4 o'clock, when they're starting to ramp up all the pregame shows, and just been like, hey, guys, guess what? Peace. So the entire game would have been about him and Alabama and so on. So it's interesting that even on Tuesday, like where they still would have been talking about the aftermath of Michigan. No, he waits 2 days later, which is just kind of interesting on the timing of all of this. I know that there was a UK fan that commented that earlier today, Kentucky got out of the transfer portal, a transfer from Alabama. I think somebody tweeted saying, that's what took Alabama. Well, Nick Saban's losing players to Kentucky.
Who do the Crimson Tide play first next year?
Is it, is it Michigan?
No.
Who is it off the top of my head?
It's us. It's WKU.
Oh, that's right.
So
when you said us, I was like, they play Northwestern?
Fans, all Western
That's
Kentucky
right.
fans are like, it's us. He doesn't want to face us.
So that's the question now, though. And I think it is. And I think it's a discussion we had on this show, about 3 months ago or something. I think it came kind of organically where I asked the question of who will be the next head coach following Nick Saban at Alabama. And I think our final answer was I don't know. I don't know that there is a
Boomer on Twitter today had about 20 names that they listed as possible.
Were you on it?
No, but stupid James Franklin was on that list.
Here's the thing: if they're not hiring James Franklin,
go for it.
Because here's the thing: Alabama is like Kentucky basketball in the realm that, for the most part, they can get whoever they want.
Right, and they take their football. They take their football very seriously. Listen,
that is an understatement.
Listen, even as a Big Ten fan, I can appreciate Alabama taking their football like Texas does. They take their football very, very seriously down there. And so
like Kentucky takes basketball.
So the next head coach is going to be a guy who, A, has a very short leash, B, has to produce results right away, and C, gosh, where was I going?
Has an impossible job.
Right. Yes. So, like, you're filling Nick Saban's shoes. Like, no matter what he does, whoever the next coach is screwed.
The old saying goes is you don't want to be the guy that follows a legend. You want to be the guy that follows that guy.
Correct.
Because you're always that guy right after is always going to be, well, you're not Nick. You're not Nick Saban.
And on a very smaller scale. That's what Northwestern's concern was with Braun. Because let's face it, Pat Fitzgerald was at Northwestern for 17 years. He was there forever. So to have that aspect of a guy who coming in as an interim because Fitzgerald lost, we thought, oh, there's nothing there. Now take that and magnify that by 1,000 to an Alabama situation where at least he didn't retire like midway through the season where you have an interim guy. Because if you have an interim guy, there's nothing that they can do.
Who will be the next head coach at Alabama?
No idea.
You know who I'm hiring? Without question. It's
Who?
the anti-Nick Saban.
Okay.
Lane Kiffin.
He's
been at Alabama, and let's be real. I don't count Tennessee, USC Raiders, Lane Kiffin. He was so young. That was so long ago that I don't really count that realm. He went to the Saban School of Rehabilitation for Coaches.
Do you know who has 25-1 odds to get the next head coaching job?
Lane Kiffin?
Deion Sanders.
Oh, no, that's wrong. But for me with Kiffin is, he did really well as the offensive coordinator there at Alabama. Goes to Florida Atlantic, turns that program around, plays really well. He's gone to Ole Miss, and he's continued to win there. He wins. Now, with Lane Kiffin, you get the Lane Kiffin aspect to it.
You do.
And the question for Alabama is do they want that?
Yeah.
Because I think he'd win there. But he is Lane Kiffin. And I think that's the only way to describe it. Like, I don't know how to describe him. I agree with Paul. It's not going to be Deion Sanders.
So here's the list that Big Game Boomer has.
Oh gosh,
Swinney. I know.
Dabo Swinney.
Dabo Swinney. Dan Lanning. Lane Kiffin.
That to me is going to be the guy. I think it'll be Dan Lanning. I think he'll leave Oregon and go to Alabama.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin. Sharon Moore.
That's the guy at Michigan, right? He's the Michigan offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I believe so. Deion, Steve Sarkisian, Lincoln Riley, Pete Carroll, for some reason, is on this list.
Well, he's looking for a job now.
Marcus Freeman, and then James freaking Franklin.
So to me, I mean, the only guys that really make sense on that is Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning makes a lot of sense. Dabo, I think 3 years ago would have made a lot of sense, but Clemson's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. Listen, we don't know that it's not this. I mean, have you been called? Have your agents? Is this going to become from the press box with Sam Gormley instead of with us?
Listen, you need to know. I got an early copy of EA Sports College Football 2025, and I'm telling you, took Northwestern to the national championship. So I'm pretty. I feel like I'm on some list somewhere. We've seen your high school or your college school record.
Yes, and it's something.
It's something.
It's something.
Thanks, Paul, for bringing that up today. By the way, you jerk.
Made me chuckle. There's no question about that. It made me chuckle. Lanning makes sense, but then there's a lot.
Whoever's gonna take that job is gonna struggle.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be a list of guys that will get calls that probably won't answer, and I think Forrest brings up one of them. Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah,
he's the head coach of Texas.
Yeah.
To me, there are only a few jobs in NCAA football that you don't leave for Alabama. And Texas is probably on that list. Kirby Smart right now at Georgia. I think Georgia is probably on that list.
But an SEC coach leave for that job, though?
Well, I mean, it's an SEC to SEC.
Yeah.
I guess would be the realm.
I don't see too many Big Ten coaches leaving for other Big Ten coaching jobs. That's why I said that.
But David Braun would leave to go to Michigan.
Yeah.
Or let's say Jeff Brom. When Jeff Brom was at Purdue, when he was at Purdue, if the Ohio State job would have come open, he'd be an idiot to not take that opportunity or something in that realm.
For that comment, but your clicker don't work for any Forrest comments. Come on, Sam.
It's odd that it goes. Mick brings up Bill O'Brien. I think Bill O'Brien's an NFL guy now. I think he's gone back there. I don't know. I mean, he has the Saban connection with it. I'm fascinated because here's the thing. Let's just say, well, yeah, I can guarantee you it's not going to be PJ Fleck. That I can guarantee you. It will not be PJ Fleck. Here's what will be really interesting is let's say it's Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Okay.
Who gets Texas's job?
Dabo.
Okay. Then who gets Clemson's job? And I'm fascinated to see how this will go.
The big carousel?
The carousel is to what this will happen, because this is maybe the best job in all of college football.
Yes.
If not the best job. Texas is probably in that realm just because they got more money than God.
Yeah.
Georgia's been on a roll and so on. I'm just really fascinated with it and to see what will happen because, like we touched on, following a legend is an impossible job. And I don't know who the guy. Maybe it'll be Taylorville High School's football coach. Ryan Brown, isn't that his name?
Jeb Odom.
Oh, why did I think? Is Ryan Brown somebody there?
He's the boys' basketball coach.
Look at that. I guarantee. Do you know any of Grayson County's coaches?
No.
If
you stacked like $100 bills on top of each other, like I will give you this if you give me just one coach, I wouldn't be able to do it. Absolutely not.
But see, here's my thing with Dabo, is Dabo has kind of tanked a little bit of these last couple of years. He's spoken out about him not liking the transfer portal, him not liking NIL that much. Can Alabama afford to take somebody with that kind of mentality? Because here's the thing. We don't need to have the argument about the transfer portal or NIL because here's the thing. It's not going anywhere. Welcome to college football.
You want to hear some interesting Alabama stuff?
It's not going to be Mark Stoops, Mick. I can tell you that.
So Nick Saban has only coached one top overall draft pick in 30 years.
Bryce Young.
Yep. Bryce Young's the only one. Alabama has a winning record against 9 of 10 Big Ten teams. Do you know which Big Ten team Alabama has never beaten? And it's not Northwestern. They've never played.
Is it Ohio State?
Nope.
So this has got to be. So Saban lost to them at Alabama. Then this has got to be early. Obviously.
I don't think this was Saban. I'm just talking
okay.
Alabama.
Who is it? I would have no idea.
Minnesota.
Okay.
In 2004, Alabama lost to Minnesota. Otherwise,
that's pre-Saban.
Yeah. So like all the rest of them, they're 4-1 against Ohio State, 10-5 against Penn State, and then 3-3 versus Michigan.
Eli Drinkwitz is an interesting name Mick brings up here, Missouri's head coach. Here's the thing with Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz is a dork. like in all seriousness, he is a dork. And I feel like you can be a dork at Missouri, Kentucky, Northwestern, some of those mid-level programs. I don't know that you can be a
dork.
Yeah, but and I think he fits the Dolphins. Like, could you see a dork being the coach of the Patriots?
See, I'm older than you, so yes, I can. But
Yeah, well,
following Bill Belichick, I don't
Cowboys
know.
or something like that. I'm not denying that, Mick. 100%. I'm not denying that that's the pot calling the kettle black. It's not. I don't know. I'm just gonna
love
find
that mix here, man. I love.
the
Oh
whole
my
search.
gosh.
The whole search. We got a special Leroy's logos too. I will say later on. And here's the thing: you can't be mad at me. You can't be mad at me.
I absolutely can be mad at you.
And you can't be mad at Mick. And Mick will back me up. Can't be mad at me and can't be mad at Mick. So, speaking of head coaching openings, the NFL has a lot of head coaching openings. One of them is not the Chicago Bears.
Which move surprised you? Which move has surprised you the most?
I think Seattle.
Pete
More
Carroll
like
stepping down?
it makes. Well, it doesn't sound like he stepped down. From what it sounds like he was asked not to come back and to transition into that advisor role. And I think Pete Carroll
We're going to give him a comfy desk job. That man's never going to work and get paid for the rest of his life, man.
And then Vrabel is second.
I think Vrabel's much higher than Carroll.
But here's the thing with Vrabel is Mike Vrabel will be the next head coach of the New England Patriots.
Oh,
Alabama has way too high standards for that, in all seriousness. Urban Meyer's, like, you can say what you want about him, but he is kind of a scumbag. And Alabama doesn't need to hire a scumbag. Do you get what I'm saying with that? Like, programs the step below Alabama can afford, like Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is kind of a scumbag, but he's at least worked himself up and has the Alabama connection of being a scumbag.
You just don't like Urban because he was at Ohio State.
No, I have nothing against that at all. Vrabel going to the Commanders, Forrest says. Because I think when you look at that job openings, you have Chargers, you have Commanders, you have Titans, you have Seahawks, you have, and now I should have written these down. And now Urban would make the SEC his female dog. Yeah, I don't particularly know that I agree that. Vrabel will be the next head coach at Ohio State, though. I can see it. Falcons is another one in there as well. Yeah. But for me, Leroy, if you are Mike Vrabel, let's just say that, who might be the top name on the market, we'll just say that, and you can pick your job, where are you headed?
New England.
Really?
If out of all the choices that are available, maybe Atlanta.
See,
I'm trying to think of what team is closest.
I'm with Mick. Chargers. Because here's the thing. What do the Chargers have that most of those other teams do not have?
A solid quarterback.
And I would say beyond solid quarterback. Justin Herbert, on a good day, is a top 5 NFL quarterback. Maybe in that 5 to 7 range, but he's an elite level starting quarterback. Whereas Atlanta doesn't have a quarterback. Now they can draft one high. I know that I read today the Athletics mock draft had Atlanta trading with Chicago to get the number 1 overall pick.
I saw that.
But
I have my thoughts on Chicago, which I'll share later on.
Yes, we will have plenty of time to talk about that. Yeah, Chargers are a secondary away from being an AFC West team, a champion. I kind of agree. Russell Wilson going to the Falcons or something. That would be interesting. I think I did read, Blake, that Marvin Harrison Jr. is staying at Ohio State once he realized that the Bears have the number 1 overall pick because he wants to go somewhere else.
There's no way Marvin Harrison is staying in college. There's no.
He'd be an idiot.
Why would anybody do that at that level when you know you're going to be a number 1 or number 2 pick?
I don't know that I necessarily want to say that I'm drinking the Justin Herbert Kool-Aid that Jalen says here. I just think he's the best quarterback of the teams
that have the teams Correct. That are missing a head coach. San Diego is set up the best for success moving forward.
Showing your age there, I appreciate that. I respect it. They'll always be San Diego to us. No one knows them going to Los Angeles Chargers.
Listen, I can't keep up with all of these stupid little moving from.
Are you ready for the Las Vegas A's?
Listen. You're lucky I put my clothes on straight today, man. You want me to keep up with all these teams moving around? 49ers don't even play in San Francisco, okay?
No, they don't. And I mean, the New York Giants don't play in New York either. Neither do the Jets. They technically play in New Jersey with it. But I think, so you're looking here. Panthers are probably the worst job out there.
Dude,
because I think there is some questions.
I said it this week. the Panthers might be worse run than the Bears. The Panthers might be a worse organization right now than Chicago.
Yeah, no,
I appreciate
that's probably accurate. Yeah, Jersey doesn't claim the Jets.
that.
And I think
but you're stuck with them.
Seahawks is another interesting job opening.
Yeah, but they're going to need a new quarterback too.
Yeah, Geno's getting up there in age, but at least you feel better about him than you do about Atlanta. The Panthers did give the Bears a first-round pick. There's no question about that.
Well, it's not even that. It's ownership being stupid. It's throwing drinks on people that are in the stands. It's giving away a first-round pick for tuppence. I mean, it's just poorly run, and they have no sense of where they want to be in the future. And listen, I'm not saying Chicago's got it all figured out, because I promise you we don't. But
no, because I have a point when you're done.
But they definitely are at least moving towards the right direction. It feels like Carolina is trying to, for lack of a better word, appease everyone. And as they appease everyone, all they're doing is digging themselves deeper into a hole.
Because the Chicago Bears are a poorly run franchise. And Mick and I had this conversation that the point I'm getting ready to make. Because here's the reason. And here's the reason. I blame them for a lot of the issues the AFC North is having right now. The Chicago Bears deserve some blame. Yes. And let me explain. For one. In fact, they're the reason why the Bengals didn't win the AFC North this year. I'm blaming the Bears.
I'm so mad at you.
And he agrees. Number one, they pretty much gave the Ravens Roquan Smith. Like, yes, let's make that defense even better. Thanks for that. And then for some reason that I will never understand, why in the heck did the Bears pretty much give a first-round pick for Chase freaking Claypool and then allow the Steelers to draft Joey Porter Jr.? Why?
So Roquan Smith did it to himself, because Roquan was like, I don't need an agent. I'm super smart. And so the Bears were like, fine, go someplace else. He's only going to ball out until he gets a contract. Then he's going to disappear. As far as Chase Claypool, yeah, that's pretty horrible.
And did I not send you a message like the minute it happened?
The minute.
And was kind of like, what in the hell are you all doing?
I grabbed my phone and I was like, wait, what did they do? Like, you were way ahead of me on the news. But like, again, and Forrest is right. Like, that might be, and listen, I could spend all day going over horrible picks that the Bears have made. But Chase Claypool might be one of the, oh yeah, we can fix him. Absolutely. I hate these reclamation, and I see it in baseball. Baseball's really bad about that too, Sam. Where baseball will be like, oh well, yeah, he sucked in Florida, but we're going to give him a shot here in Chicago. And he comes and bats 180, and management's like, again, what did you think was going to happen, man?
I found the stat hilarious that it's like, because the Bears. Did they cut him, or did they end up trading him for a bag of Sun Chips to the Dolphins?
Yeah,
and I love it that the record, like with the Bears, were awful when he was on the team. The minute that they traded him, they started playing well, and the Dolphins did the exact opposite thing. So it's all Chase Claypool's fault that the two teams are
3 out of 4 games. Yes. The Dolphins lost like 3 out of their next 4.
Exactly. Hilarious. I saw somebody ask the question earlier, and I think it was John, but I think it is an actual question that we need to discuss. And I think it could be looked at 2 different ways. Leroy, Jim Harbaugh, question mark?
You know what? I first of all, I just want to say I'm super irritated. It came out today that the Bears never even called Harbaugh at all. And then, when they hired
Eberflus or whatever his name is.
No, like even in this time, like right now.
Well, they have a coach.
A coach who is 10-24, but it's fine. No, you know what? I think the Chargers job is very appealing to him. The Chargers job is very appealing to him, and that Raiders job is very appealing to him. So I wouldn't be surprised. He'll be an NFL head coach next year. I think
you're confident in that?
I'm pretty confident in that. And maybe next week my answer changes, but he's definitely going to be a head coach. I think he's going to be a head coach of the NFL next year for either the Raiders or the Chargers. That's my gut feeling on this. I think, and maybe I'm wrong. Y'all know me. I'm never right, but maybe it's one of those things where I think he's tired of the NCAA rules that have been just harassing him every single week as far as what he's done, what he hasn't done. So that's your own fault, Dan. That's your own fault. But
yeah, did the Raiders do the right thing and keep the interim this time too?
No,
Antonio Pierce.
No.
That's true. Because I feel like Jim Harbaugh is the most Raiders hire ever.
Oh yeah, that man is that man is black and silver all the way through.
He's John Gruden in that realm of far as like we're just going to take a shot.
He might be more John Gruden than John Gruden. Okay. Also, he looks just like his dad. Jim looks just like Jack.
Oh yeah. Well, and then
like to a T.
You want to know who looks like a Harbaugh too?
Who?
And I'm gonna pull up a picture right now because you know what the Harbaughs look like. Especially he looks like John.
Okay.
Is here, and I'm gonna talk while I go through this. Well, you know what? It's gonna take a second because my computer's gonna be slow while I pull this up. Somebody might drop the comment to say who I'm thinking of. John does look like Harbaugh. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate that. John does look like a Harbaugh. Caleb dropped it. Brock Purdy. I'm pulling up a picture right now. I'm going to save the picture right now, and I'm going to throw it in because he absolutely looks like Harbaugh. And once you see it, you're never going to unsee it now. Because, and of course, the computer's going to take its sweet time while we talk about this because it's not like we've got people watching or anything.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Leroy, are you ready? Here it comes. I'm going to have it on screen. You don't need to look at it. You can't tell me he's not a Harbaugh.
So our morning show host, Tim Zalabak, I'll have to send you a picture later, Sam. He looks like Brock Purdy.
So he looks like a Harbaugh too.
So he looks like a Harbaugh.
He looks more like John.
Yeah.
But does anybody know where John was about 23 years ago?
Wait, where was Brock Purdy born?
I have no idea.
Queen Creek, Arizona. Queen Creek. Wait, where was Jack Harbaugh where was John 23 years ago?
Yes, because he looks more like John than he does
for the Bears. So
John
they play in Arizona one weekend.
It's when I saw that somebody left the comment and I was like, I can never unsee that now, you jerk. Where was John Harbaugh in the late 90s? He was with Philadelphia. So probably not then.
So does that mean his dad, Sean Purdy, looks just like
I love
Hold on, let me pull up Sean Purdy. Hold on.
I was gonna say, how do you know who Brock Purdy's?
I got his stuff up. They got his parents listed on.
I was gonna say, yes, I know who. Just every NFL quarterbacks. You can't tell the college logos and tell me with this. We're getting to the logos here in a minute, Paul. There's still we still got to talk about the playoff games as a whole. Or do we want to come back to those when we do our picks at the end?
Picks at the end.
Okay, we can do that. Baseball, I know the Cubs had a big signing. We can touch on that really quick. Not Yamamoto, but the other guy, right?
Yeah, the other guy.
Yeah.
Leroy did a 20 or Imamoto or something. I don't know.
Caleb says Leroy did a 23andMe on the Purdy family. What a creep.
Of course I did. No, this guy, listen. Did
you sneak into his house and get the Q-tip and do the cheek swab and all that?
I mean, hold on. Look at this guy.
Yeah. Brock, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can kind of see it there. But old Brock.
I'm excited about this Imamoto or Yamamoto or whatever. His. I'm really trying not to be like that guy, but I can't.
Just a little bit. Just coming off a little bit.
Hold on. Wait. What's
Yoshishito.
What's his name? Shono Imanaga. That's his name. And I'm sure I went to the comment section. I'm like, I'm sure all these comments will be professional and well, no. People are a-holes, man. Like I tell you, and I know you see it. You're on social media a lot. I know you see when the Bengals play or the Reds play, but my goodness, people really just keyboard warriors just let themselves just absolutely go nuts. Somebody commented and said, why doesn't great, another picture that we need a translator for. And somebody commented back and said, you know what? If you need a translator to translate a 94 mile an hour curveball, then I don't know what to tell you. But he looks pretty good. Left-handed pitcher, 1,000 innings. He's got a 3.18 ERA, so he's an innings heater. If he can keep the ball in the park, from what I understand, if he can keep the ball in the park, he'll do all right. I think the long ball is going to be a problem, which makes me a little nervous because Wrigley Field can be.
Well, and then he also gets to play a couple games a year at Great American.
Yeah, he does.
Which is home run territory, without question for that. Do you want to jump into logos?
Yeah, sure we can. You know who gives us a lot of home runs at Great American? J.J. Hoover. Wow. Oh, let's see. I already know where you're going with this logos contest today.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Leroy's Logos.
All right, Paul. Let's have our one free agent that we get a year. We're not the Braves. We don't sign people to good contracts.
If you've never played Leroy's Logos, it's simple. I mean, it's a really easy game. Leroy, I've given him 3 logos. You just got to tell me what college that logo is from. And then of those 3, there is a theme for said logos. As a reminder, Leroy hitting 381. 51.5 out of potential 135 points.
Decent.
Last week, 2 out of 4, though. Paul, I know you weren't here last week, so 2 out of 4, Leroy. You got Utah and you got Butler, but he missed Little Rock and couldn't pull out the theme. Leroy, uno, dos, or tres for the door.
I'm not thinking strong enough on these themes, man. I got to go a little bit deeper on these themes. I've been struggling with that. I'll go with door number 1 today.
Door number 1.
That's Memphis, duh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had to do the day stream, Paul. We're sorry. I know you missed it because apparently we heard you were in your therapy session for the finger incident.
Hey, listen. It's not my fault you can't handle a little bit of oil or lube on a finger, man. Not my fault.
The comment section is rolling.
Anybody put anything good up?
Mick put this up for you.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. Real help there, buddy.
Do you have a guess for this one?
Montana.
Montana. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
How's your confidence level in that?
50-50.
50-50.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Wow. I'll be honest. Didn't think you had a chance in France of getting that. Didn't think you had a chance in France of getting that. My goodness. Okay.
You know all of these, dude.
Okay, Leroy. Door number 2 or 3. I'll be darned.
2.
You maybe are going to do better today than I thought you would. Door number 2.
I might do better than I normally do. Wait for some comments to go up, but I know this one, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we going to have a clean sweep from Leroy? My goodness.
Nah.
Let's see. When's the last time you got all 3 logos right?
It's been a hot minute.
Episode 24, you got all 3 correct.
That was the first time that was the time that Mick picked all of them.
No, that was not.
Caleb.
No,
Caleb
I picked those 3 that week. You got Southern Miss, Dartmouth, and Maine that episode.
All right.
That is the only time you've ever gotten. Oh, wait, no. And then when Caleb, you got all 3 of them right. When Caleb picked them, so only twice.
I think this is Bowling Green.
You think this is Bowling Green?
Yes, sir.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir. That's
correct. Bowling Green. Bowling Green. Leroy
Brownie
is
DL.
2 of 2. Is he going to go 3 out of 4? Which means that I need to pick up my game.
Christy saw Brownie the elf in the middle of the Browns field. She's like, "What is that?"
Yeah, I ask myself that every single time. The last Leroy's logo. I think you're getting 3 out of 3, Leroy.
Oh, no. Ah, crap.
Is he going to go 3 out of 3 this week? Again, you can't be mad at me for these logos, even though you're seemingly doing well, which is probably the reason why it's probably a good thing that you can't be mad at me. Nothing coming to mind here?
I'll go North Dakota State.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's not right, though. Dang it, man.
That is correct. Do you have your comments turned on? Are you cheating?
No! I legit have them
Are you
off.
cheating?
I legit have them off.
Wow. For only the 3rd time in the now
Go!
36th episode.
Let's go!
And I love it. Caleb's been here for like 3 shows, and you've gotten 3 out of 3 on 2 of the... Maybe it's Caleb bringing you the good luck on this.
You're not allowed... You got to be at all our shows
Okay.
from now on, man.
I'll tell you this, Leroy. If you pull out the theme here, then you're cheating. Maybe you have access to my spreadsheet, because I'd be surprised if you're able to pull out the theme this week. Look at that. You're getting hyped up in the comments section. Does that make you feel good?
Oh, my goodness.
Montana, Bowling Green, North Dakota State. Leroy.
So, at first, I
What
thought they
is
were all
the theme?
I thought they were all teams that were on the border of Canada, but Bowling Green's in Ohio, so it doesn't work for that one. All right.
Ohio's close to Canada.
Kind
I don't
of.
know, Paul. What is the theme?
That's all right. All right. Oh, all right. Let's do some math here. So, Montana,
You're doing
North Dakota.
math? If you're doing math, then you're not wrong. Then you're wrong.
Wait, of course I'm wrong.
The Grizzlies, Falcons, Bison.
Grizzlies, Falcons, Bisons. All teams. That doesn't work. I was gonna say all teams that fire their head coach. I'll go with that. All teams that fired their head coach. Hey!
I'll be honest with you, you weren't going to get this theme. This theme might have been a little jerkish, but
I mean, it's you. I expect it.
these are all schools that our good friend Paul Reeves has guessed in the comments and been wrong on previous episodes of Leroy's logos.
Goodness, that is such Paul.
So again, if you wanted to blame somebody, you should have blamed Paul Reeves. But I guess you should thank Paul Reeves because you end up pulling out 3 out of 4. So again, these are all schools that Paul Reeves has incorrectly guessed on previous episodes of Leroy's logos.
Oh my gosh, Paul, I owe you a beer, man. Oh my gosh.
Paul, I've been planning this theme for a while now, and it backfired. It backfired on me big time. You're not hitting 392 on the season, Leroy.
That was a good jump. That was a good jump.
Yes, you did. You did have a big jump there. Yes, I am digging deep. I am digging deep. I
got him for drivers. He's gonna hate me when drivers come up. So
you at least appreciate the theme, right?
I do. That was fantastic.
I told you weren't gonna get it.
That was fantastic.
How about a little play clock here? Yes,
yeah,
you do. And you owe me one too for picking 3 easy logos because Paul put a couple on there that I could have been real mean on in some of his guesses, but I'm not that big of a jerk, despite how you might think I am. Time for Play Clock segment, where we each have 40 seconds to answer a question that the other person doesn't know anything about. Leroy, ask or answer.
I will answer first.
Okay. Leroy. Can I answer first? I don't ever get to pick. Can I answer first?
Yeah, if you want to.
I do. I never get to pick. I usually let you pick, but because my second question to you, I think might actually tick you off and make you rage quit.
Okay.
So I want to at least get my 2 questions in beforehand.
You get to go to the movie theater, and they're showing a trilogy. So 3 movies. Okay? But they all have to be related, like Star Wars Episode 4, 5, 6, or, Rocky 1 through 3, or Terminator 1 through... You can pick what trilogy you want to watch. Which trilogy are you watching in the movie theater?
So can I pick one that's not quite up yet? Because we were having this conversation on our morning show yesterday where we had a list of the movies everyone's excited about that's coming out in 2024. And Deadpool 3 is coming out in 2024. And I made the comment to them on air that I think Deadpool 2 with you was the last time I've been to the movie theater. I don't ever go. And I think Deadpool 2 back in May of 2018, June, something like that.
Great movie.
That would probably be the one that I would pick is Deadpool 1, 2, and 3. Do they have to be the same franchise, or can it be like Mick here and pick just 3 random ass movies?
I wanted them to be kind of connected, but yeah.
So Deadpool 1, 2, and 3. Because I guess it's not a trilogy technically yet. Oh, they're both good.
But it will be. They're fantastic. Ryan Reynolds is oh my gosh, I love that man. Him and Blake Lively are my power couple. I love them both.
Oh yeah, that's good. Good answer. Leroy, how big does the deficit need to be for you to turn the game off involving your favorite team in each of the main sports? So for the Bears, for the Cubs, for the Blackhawks, and so on, or Northwestern, how big does the deficit have to be that would force you to turn off the game?
Well, I'll tell you, if anybody knows me, I watch games. I'll stay. If I attend a game, I'll stay for the whole thing. I don't ever leave early.
This is TV.
No matter what the score is. But for TV, the Blackhawks was 6. It was 7-1, and I was like, nope, I'm done. And it takes a lot for me to shut this game off. Chicago Bears, it's got to be usually 21-28. I'll shut it off. If they're down by if it's 35-7, I'm done. Baseball's weird. Baseball I'll watch as long as it's within 10. If it's 11-1, I'll shut it off. And then the Bulls, I don't watch a whole lot of NBA anyway, so because the Bulls aren't very good. So those are my numbers. Basketball. I think Paul. I would tend to agree. If I was watching a basketball game, if they were down by 20-25, I'd probably. Well, no, I'll tell you, Northwestern. If Northwestern's down by 25, I'll shut it off. Northwestern basketball, I'll shut it off. Yeah.
See, if Kentucky basketball is down by 25, I'm going to social media. just because something awful has happened. Woo, my goodness.
Again, the differences between Sam and me. If Northwestern's down by 25, it's we'll get them next time.
It's just Tuesday.
If UK is down by 25, it's oh my god, what are we gonna do about it?
I love Red Zone channel too. Red Zone's awesome. On days where the Bengals aren't playing, I just put it on Red Zone the entire day. It's so good. Okay, I'm ready, Leroy.
They are expected to announce the trailer, I believe, for NCAA football. I think when the playoffs start, I think this is when they're supposed to. They were either supposed to do it during the championship game or.
There was a rumor that came out online that it was supposed to happen during the college football championship the other night.
Okay, so this may be a dumb question. I'm going to ask it anyway. What's the very first thing you're doing, and what team are you picking on NCAA football?
Well, franchise mode absolutely is going to be the first thing I do, and I'll either go Kentucky or WKU. It'll be one of those two teams. But then I also do appreciate, and I got to imagine that Road to Glory is going to come back out. And I really enjoyed playing that also, where you play as your guy through high school and get recruited.
Yeah.
I hope if they do that, though, they improve the recruiting process. And like you actually get recruited instead of just earning points. And once you hit a certain amount of points, then you get the scholarship offer immediately.
Scott, I'm waiting for my NIL.
Like you get NIL deals, and here's, Georgia Southern's offering me this much, but Western's offering me this much, and you can go with that. And then with the NIL money, you can pay for everything and so on. I just hope that there's aspects of that, but probably Kentucky or Western. And that's why I like Western is they're not a 1-star team, but they're in the lower realm of you got to build them up a little bit more.
I saw WKU is ranked, or not ranked, but they're projected to be in the tournament this year.
They are. The NCAA tournament would be the first time since 2013.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome. Hell, come on. The Boise State field is the best, Paul.
Blue, man.
Listen, the Smurf turf.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Leroy, this is the hot take question. Are you ready for this? And I really wanted this to be the last one. Mick, help me with this. I had the question. He reworded it to make it go a little bit better. So I give him halfway props in this. Leroy, Dave Klamola, I'm going to say this. He calls you up, and he has purchased a Travel America truck stop. Which I just love the thought of this already, don't you? Because can you just imagine him owning a truck stop?
Dad, why, Dad? What are you... All right.
He's bought a truck. You, though, are going to be the manager of it, or the general manager of it, is part of the deal or whatever it is. Okay. You have 4 restaurant slots that are open in this Travel America. What 4 restaurants is Leroy Klamola picking to put in his Travel America so that Dave Klamola can retire happy?
Taco Bell, Jimmy John's, Denny's, and a White Castle. Those are my 4. My dad, listen, every time I go to White Castle, the line is out the door. Really, I should do Chick-fil-A instead of Denny's. But my goodness, man, I tell you what, White Castle, I don't know where you guys are at, if you guys have White Castles, where you guys are at. But the line around the building every single time I go is just insane. Oh my goodness! So those are my picks.
Can I say one thing on your pick here?
Yes.
You do realize as the manager, you might have to worry about the restrooms, and you're picking Taco Bell, you're picking Denny's, and you're picking White Castle. Woo! Are there good plumbers up there?
No, we just opened a big hole underneath them.
Yeah, Crystals and White Castle are the same thing.
Yeah.
I know Mick Nelson is #1 White Castle fan.
Oh my goodness, Waffle House. Oh.
Mick loves White Castle.
We gotta talk about we've been talking about food way too much, man. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic.
Yeah, better have your plunger ready there.
Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Waffle House, and Five Guys is what Forrest says. I love it.
That's good.
That is a good time.
Caleb, do you want to be a bathroom attendant in there? Taco Bell, White Castle, and Denny's. And you have Jimmy John's in there, which is, fine. I mean,
how about you throw up that next comment? On there? Yeah.
Mick loves himself some White Castle. He hates White Castle. Hates it. That's not a bad answer, though. I'll give you that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
As long as there aren't any of those dang sun chips in the area, then we're okay. Are you ready for your drivers now?
I am. Which one you want? Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
That poor toilet. R.I.P. Dos.
Okay.
Do you know Spanish?
Yes, I know Spanish. Okay. So, I will give you a hint. Some of these guys are current. Some of them are not.
I don't know that that's really going to help me anyways. So if you've never played this segment too, I have to tell Leroy whether this driver is NASCAR, F1 or Indy. Let me pull up this last comment here. I see one pop
Sam,
up, so I can turn it off.
Sam does not like sun chips.
No, it's not that I don't like sun chips. It's just that I asked the question, Tyler, it's probably been about 3 or 4 months ago. I asked you, what is the best chip? And Leroy said the Garden Salsa Sun Chip. And that is absolutely the worst possible answer someone could have. I'm not gonna deny. Now, the Harvest Cheddar or whatever, that's not bad. Now, it's not my top pick, but it's not bad. But okay, comments are off, and I'll put this guy on screen here. Why is he so small? Okay.
Is he small? There you go.
No, he isn't.
And extra bonus points if you tell me what series his wife races in.
Interesting. They've got very white teeth. I will give them that. We'll give them that. They are very white teeth. NASCAR and the Craftsman Truck Series.
Okay. That your final answer?
Yes.
So that is Graham Rahal. He is a IndyCar driver, and his wife races NHRA.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Oh my gosh, I got a lot of. Okay, wait 1 second. I got like 25 comments here. Okay. John says cheddar cheese sun chips, super underrated. Sun chips are good, but got to be in the mood for them. Burn them all with fire. Yeah, I agree, Tyler. Yeah, it's an awful answer. It's an awful answer. I don't know who Tyler is. I'm sure you know him, Leroy, but I like him.
He's a Saints fan. He's okay.
So Paul and I had the same exact answer: NASCAR and races the Truck Series, but we were wrong. Okay.
Nope.
Okay, I'm full screen now, so I can't see. So you can switch.
IndyCar. She races NHRA, or she did. I don't think she's racing NHRA anymore. Okay. Which one next?
You can switch.
One
I'm
or
not
three?
San.
What?
That's Japanese for 3. You don't speak Japanese? You got to start learning Japanese if you have a Japanese player. Well, listen, I can tell you that guy's not not a NASCAR driver. I can tell you that right now.
I am busy learning Russian, okay? 3.
F1. F1.
All right, is that your final answer?
Yeah, he's not a NASCAR driver.
He's not. You sure he's not a NASCAR driver?
If he is, he needs to go to F1. Okay, yes, that's my final answer.
That's your final answer?
Okay, I'm looking at the comments right now so I can pull it back up here as I close it out.
Okay.
Okay, good thing they are keeping those horses. Yep, Caleb is wrong. F1. Is that Dan Weldon? It is Dan Weldon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
R.I.P. Yep. It is Dan Weldon. Now, the slick back hair, is not a NASCAR driver. He had the Indy or...
His 2 sons are driving now, and they are dominating they're racing the lowest levels for IndyCar, but they are straight up dominating.
Did you see the Dale Jr. podcast with Cale Yarborough about Cale Yarborough?
Yeah.
With the race car noises?
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, the last one. What in the heck? Who the hell is that guy? Is that Dave Ramsey? Dan Weldon is an IndyCar driver who died in a wreck. What, about 10 years ago, Leroy?
In 2004 in Vegas.
No, it's not been that long ago.
No, wait. Hold on. When did Dan pass away?
F1.
2011.
Yeah. About 13 years ago, I guess.
He won. And guys, listen. I'm a huge Dan Weldon fan. He won the Indy 500 because the guy crashed on the last lap and he went right around him and won the race. And he would pass away later that year.
I remember watching then.
It was $1 million challenge, and they opened it up to anyone. And there were too many cars in the track, and his car got thrown up into the catch fence. Normally, the cars get thrown up bottom first, but his got thrown up top first, and his head banged up against the netting, and broke his neck, and that's what killed him.
F1.
Final answer?
Yeah.
No, that is IndyCar as well. It's his birthday today. That is this guy's father.
Oh, well, I took him off stage there.
That is this guy's father.
Huh,
Is
I guess they kind of look
Graham?
alike.
That's Bobby Ray Hall. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Bobby.
Congratulations, Bobby. Does he need like a cookie or something? Is he watching? I've never heard of that man before in my life. I kind of agree with what Paul says. How many times does it take? Okay. He owns Toyota dealerships in Pennsylvania.
He was pretty successful in the 80s, 90s. And Paul,
the dude hasn't won a race in 30 years. Why are we putting him on here?
I told you there were old drivers on there.
Cheater. Guess what's happening to logos next week?
You mean what you do every week? And Paul,
I got 3 out of 4 this week.
I saw your comment about 80s, 90s NASCAR drivers. I got you, bud.
You got that. Okay, how about we jump into some picks? But you know what we got to do before we jump into our picks? We got to recap last week's picks of the week, where the winner of last week's picks was myself, 8-5.
Ooh.
A little bit of a, which brings the overall total for the year to, that is not correct. I don't know what just happened here. I got to click down here. The overall total, 116-99. I am up by 17 points. Leroy, if I'm being honest, I'm not entirely certain if it's even possible for you to catch up. But we will continue to move along.
We have such a blast with these picks every year, man.
And you've been rolling. You've been rolling recently, too. You've been doing a lot better.
Time with this stuff.
Last week, Leroy, you picked Grayson County against Muhlenberg County. And the Cougs fell in overtime, 79-71 to Muhlenberg County, so you fell on the point there. I picked Taylorville to defeat Effingham, and I was correct.
Correct. In one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen in my life, and that takes a lot. Taylorville won 54-41.
We both predicted the Bengals to beat the Browns. Leroy went with the Bears. I went with the Packers. Packers won that game. We both went with Michigan against Washington. Michigan won, as we touched on earlier. We both went with the Bills against Miami. Leroy did pick up a point saying that the Lions would beat the Vikings. I went with the Vikings. Is John still watching? John, you might want to mute it for like John, mute us for like 10 seconds. Leroy picked the Colts. I predicted the Texans. I was correct because the Texans picked up the Colts. We both went with the Bucks against the Panthers. I got the Titans to defeat the Jags, and we both were very wrong in saying that the Eagles would beat the Giants.
Boy, they have fallen apart, man. The Eagles have absolutely just fallen apart. I know John and I were having a conversation in our hockey group a little bit earlier today about the Eagles and what is the problem? Like, what happened? Why are they playing poorly? I know it's pick time, but like, why are they playing poorly?
I don't know, but we'll have to make the decision whether it's going to be an actual continuation here because it's the last game of the weekend. So let's come back to that because I think on our picks today we'll take a little bit longer on each one than our traditional like bang bang. I think that makes the most sense because then that could be kind of our NFL preview. But first,
yeah.
Do we want to do our high school picks now, or do we want to end with those and then go with the NFL?
We had so much to talk about today. We didn't even touch on the Bears and their moves that they made today.
Oh. They did fire their offensive coordinator, who
they fired all of their offensive staff, all of them. You know, quarterbacks coach, wide receivers coach, offensive line coach. They fired everyone on the offensive staff.
Can I interest you in an offensive line coach?
No.
Frank Pollock?
No.
You can have him for free.
Yeah, can we? Can we? I'm sure Burrow loves him.
No. I don't think he does. But let's do our NFL pick and then we'll end with our high school. No, let's which one do you want to do first?
What do you want to do?
I don't really care. It's up to you. You want to go our high school picks first or at the end?
Go high school first.
Okay. Leroy, Grayson County on Friday evening, the 8-6 Cougs host arch rival, well, second biggest arch rival, Butler County, and the Bears, who are 7-5. Now, Leroy, I will say you have missed like 4 straight Grayson County games. I went back and looked. It's been hilarious. You've put the curse on whichever team you're picking. So I don't know if that's going to continue this week or what. It's honestly been kind of funny is because here's the thing. All of these games have been like 50-50 that you've had to pick. And it's just hilarious that you've put like the kiss of death on it.
Well,
Butler County 7-5 at Grayson County 8-6. Paul is picking Grayson County.
Yeah, I've got bad news for Grayson County fans because that's who I'm going with.
And the streak will continue because that's not going to happen. As much as I want that to happen, it's Butler County's the favorite. What's our Taylorville game of the week, Leroy?
Our Taylorville game of the week, Taylorville, who comes into this game 16-3, heads down to the Highland tournament because God knows they love making me travel an hour and a half for these darn games. I go down to St. Louis for the Highland tournament. Taylorville, 16-3, takes on Teutopolis Wooden Shoes. The Teutopolis Wooden Shoes, who are 10-6.
Wooden Shoes are very uncomfortable. I don't know why you'd want to play in them. I'll pick Taylorville.
All right.
Right pick?
I think so. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I don't think you made, like, if I was in your shoes, I would have picked Butler County, but because Butler County is one of the best team in the second best team in the region. They got a kid who's averaging like 40. Not really. He's averaging like 30. But it's one of those things that since it's a rivalry game, as you well know, you throw it all out.
They're a big Dutch community, Paul. That's why they named them that. You know me. I'm not a big advocate for the shot clock at the high school level. We've had this conversation before. Boy, I have never been a bigger fan of the shot clock until Taylorville played Paris on Saturday. We had a girl score her 1,000th point, which, by the way, you know how generally if you're the opposing coach, you call timeout and everything. No, this guy was just like, play through. I was all irritated about that. But the final score was like
the
40.
The opposing coach calls a timeout?
No, don't they usually like call time like after?
I think it depends on where it is in the game. I know like I know we're going to have 2 later on this year.
This was with 40 seconds left in the second quarter.
I'd wait till halftime.
Yeah.
What was the score?
Taylorville was up by 8.
Yeah, I'd wait till halftime. Or Taylorville can take a timeout if they want to recognize it.
Yeah.
I'd wait until, because I've seen many times where they wait until a break. Now, I know Grayson County had a player. In fact, the anniversary was a couple of days ago because it popped up on my timeline, where it was literally she needed 1 point coming into the game, and they drew up a play, first play of the game, and they might have even had a conversation with the other coach and been like, hey, we'll give you 2. You give us 2. Let's do it. Let's take a quick timeout, stop the game really quick. And the coach is like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Get her 1,000th point, and then we can play. And then I've had another time where it was like the fourth quarter of a 3-point game, and they waited until after the game or a timeout or something. So
the final score of this game was 40-35. And even as it got down to like a minute left and the other team was down, they were still playing slow. And it was like, okay, guys, like it's like time ran. It's like they forgot how an end of a game works. They didn't foul or anything. It was just really bizarre. But that made me a big fan of, oh my gosh, get the shot clock in here. Good grief.
Leroy.
Yeah.
First game on Saturday. The Cleveland Browns travel to face the Fighting CJ Strouds and the Houston Texans. Who you got? Because I think, about this game too, I think, you got the Browns, who might have the best defense in the NFL, against the young quarterback CJ Stroud.
But the Browns
CJ Stroud gets the game at home
historically.
Who you got?
I think defense takes this one. I'll go with the Browns.
I agree. I think that the Browns are... I don't know how sustainable they are, just because I think Joe Flacco's been playing out of his head a little bit. But I think that the injuries on that Texans offense, Tank Dell and so on, it's going to catch up to him at some point.
Boy, Joe Flacco has been such a breath of fresh air for that Browns team.
Don't you love, like, in all seriousness?
My goodness.
And this is not me taking a shot at you, but he's like your age.
Yeah.
Like,
how old is
38? Isn't he 38?
couple years younger than I am.
He's 38. He will be.
38?
He'll be 39 on the 16th. So he'll be 39 on Tuesday.
So just a couple years younger than I am. Yeah.
And
doing remarkably well. Very well for him.
I'm picking the Browns though. Oh gosh, I have to pick this game first. On Peacock on Saturday night, the Miami Dolphins travel to Arrowhead Stadium to face the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll pick the Chiefs. Just because as somebody who knows, it's kind of hard to play there in Kansas City, and beat Mahomes there and that, because weird things happen. Like, hey, let's do a redo.
Listen, normally I'd go with the Dolphins in a game like this, but it's supposed to be -4 degrees. No way the Dolphins go into Kansas City and win when it's that cold. I'll take the Chiefs all day.
And I do also think, the Dolphins are beat up too. They got so many injuries, especially on D. I mean, they're literally signing guys off the street, like Justin Houston. They signed him off the streets this week. I don't know. I just feel like it's
Coach McDaniel has my heart, though. I just want you to know that. Love that man.
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah. Without a doubt, he's a dork, but everybody kind of likes that.
It works for that team.
It is.
They showed the press conference. They showed a press conference with him today, and he was like, "Yeah, we just need to." He stops. He's like, "Are you on TikTok? What are you? Am I that boring? Like, what are you doing?"
How much?
Me up, man.
How much weed does he smoke?
Oh, enough.
Yes is probably the answer. Leroy, the Fighting Forest Tanners travel to Buffalo in the 1:00 window on Sunday. Who you got?
The Bills.
Do I even need to say?
I know. I'll say it for you. Sam picks the Bills. Okay.
Bills by 90. In that game. I mean, honestly, I think that the TJ Watt injury is a big story. And I mean, that's their best defenders. I mean, and this is it. Forrest says 1-10 without him. Bills win. It's in Buffalo. Bills are playing well. Bills win.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll be respectable. I give you credit there, Forrest. The Green Bay Packers travel to Dallas to take on the Dallas
Cowboys. By 80.
I would have thought you would pick the other team there. Are we really going to be the same on all of these? Because I agree, the Cowboys. If this game was anywhere else, I would probably pick the Packers. But the Cowboys at home this year have been unreal. They've been pretty much a different team there. So because of that, I have to pick the Cowboys. Forrest, though, is going to pick Packers. It would not shock me if the Packers win, though.
That officiating in the Packers-Bears game was very bizarre. It was very pro-Chicago for most of the game, and it struck me as odd because the Packers are generally the favored son of the NFL. Did anybody in the comment section watch that Packers-Bears game? That was very.
Is anyone that miserable?
Well, no, but come on.
I know that game was like the only one on in that 425 window.
There was just some very odd calls that went in favor of Chicago, man. It was really, really bizarre. I wasn't complaining, but it just struck me as really, really odd.
In what might be one of the harder games to pick of the weekend, Brad watched. So I don't know if he agrees with you or not.
Brad's a Packers fan. He probably agrees with me.
Rams and Matthew Stafford travel to Detroit.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football on Sunday. Lions hosting a playoff game.
Stafford
Leroy
versus the Lions. Oh, my goodness.
McVay versus Dan Campbell. Who you got? Might be the hardest game to pick of the weekend.
I'll go with Detroit. What are you thinking, Sam?
You know what? I don't like that we've picked the same on everything. So I'm going to pick the Rams. Just because it's not fun if we are the same on every single pick.
And that's true, Paul. That Lions secondary is beat up.
And this is one of these games that I'm excited. So I have a college game Sunday, and it's in the afternoon. So I'll miss the entirety of the Steelers game, most of the Packers game, but I'll be home to watch Rams-Lions, and I'm really excited to be able to get there and watch that game because it's one that I could not care less who wins. So I'll just be able to sit there and enjoy the game. I don't.
Those are rare. Those are rare when we get opportunities like that.
Correct. Just like the same on Monday Night Football when the Philadelphia Eagles play the Fighting Baker Mayfields and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It was such a pissing match. Stafford's wife got upset because the Lions wouldn't give her a suite. Your husband makes like $300 million. Just go buy one.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to pick this game first. Gosh, and this is another hard one to pick because the Eagles have been so bad over these last couple of weeks. I mean, but we've seen them also be really, really good. But they haven't in recent weeks. But I don't know that I'm really buying the Bucs.
Baker Mayfield's been having a great year. No, so Paul, that was just a like blog site that everyone ran with. There really isn't a ban on Stafford jerseys. The fake blog site like ran with it and it made national headlines.
You almost
that would be hilarious if they did.
You almost want to like 1, 2, 3 this and say this at the same time.
You want to do it? All right, let's do it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Eagles.
You feel better about yourself? You feel better about yourself?
No, because I literally like those last two, and then Dolphins Chiefs. If it wasn't
cold, I'd probably pick the Dolphins. It's cold though.
Yes.
Miami can't play in the cold. They've never been able to. Somebody back me up on this. Dolphins can't play in the cold. They suck outside.
Why? Because
their record under 32 degrees is awful. Hold on. Dolphins.
Why? Because their pools freeze? Is that why?
The Dolphins have lost 10 straight games when the temperature is below 40 degrees. That's good enough for me, man.
And I think that the Chiefs have a good secondary, which can help against the wide receivers of the Dolphins. Because I won't be able to watch that game more than likely, especially since it's on Peacock. Because I have a wedding Saturday night, and
you not have Peacock.
Well, I'm at a wedding, so I don't know whether the reception will have Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine that it'll be on at the reception. So it'll be one of those things that I'll probably just have to keep checking my phone to get score updates.
I love my Peacock. They're not paying me to say anything, but listen, I love my Peacock. That's how I watch. That's how I watch that 70s show, The Office, all my IndyCar races, all WWE wrestling is on Peacock. That's good enough for me, man. That's fantastic.
Are you and your endorsements? When am I going to get any of this endorsement money?
You don't get any money. It's your show.
Logo's out. Logo's out.
It's your show, man.
Logo's out. Apparently Modern Family's on there too. So Mick likes that. Look, there's my
see, we both got the B. Look at that B. There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, gotta be a little careful. Well, actually, okay. Did we touch it? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is apparently on there too. Which is funny show.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is on there. Yes, absolutely. Plenty of great shows. Plenty of great shows.
Did we touch everything that we were supposed to?
Did we talk about the Bears?
I thought we just did. Like right before the picks.
Was that what we talked about?
I mean, did you want to say more about it?
No, listen, there were a lot of people that wanted Eberflus fired. But the question that I wanted to ask you is from an outsider's perspective, you ask me all the time, what do you think that they're going to do? You think they keep Fields now that they got rid of their offensive line, or is that me or their offensive coordinator and coaches, or is that a pure sign that they are drafting Caleb Williams? What do you think?
I think you need to answer that question
You know what, Reeves?
You got to be thanking him. Remember, he's the
Yes.
one that helped you get 3 out of 3.
You, Paul. I already said I owe him a beer. What do you want from me? What do you, from an outsider's perspective, from a Bengals
Honestly,
fan,
I need to see who's their offensive coordinator. Because I think that will, like, do they go higher? I'm just saying, as an example, like Greg Roman, just as an example. I'm just using that name as an example, who is more of your run first guy, like he was with the Ravens and so on, and they get somebody like that? Or do they go and they hire Joe Brady, just as an example? I know he already has a job, but someone, more of the pass first. If they're going that realm, then I think you're looking more towards the draft, because I don't know that you can trust Fields and his arm that much. But if you're going run first offense, which I don't think would be necessarily the right decision based on the personnel that they have, with DJ Moore and potentially Marvin Harrison Jr. or whatever it might be, then I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree with John. I think they stick with Fields unless a team just is like, hey, we'll send you 3 first rounds. Like.
And if a team does that, then that GM needs to be sent to the moon.
Right.
Or you're saying for Fields or for the number 1 overall pick?
I'm just saying in general, like the Bears have to be blown away to be in a position to get a quarterback in this draft. I think the Bears need to just say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, we have to. We have no choice but to." I don't. Yeah, I don't necessarily. Again, I've maintained my stand. You guys know how I feel about this. If you are longtime listeners of this podcast, you know how I feel of what they're going to do. They're going to go pick up Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, Paul, they're not allowed to have Brock Bowers.
They're going to go pick up Marvin Harrison Jr. and go get an offensive lineman. That should be their priority. That should be, listen, all stops. This is who we need to draft. MHJ, and get either the offensive lineman from Penn State or get another one of those big burly guys, one of those big offensive linemen to help protect
Notre
and
Dame.
Give their quarterback a little bit more time to throw the ball, and somebody who's not offsides or false starting every single freaking play.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry. Better.
I mean, I don't think your desk deserved that. And you were just like, I'm going to call Randy.
It's Randy's equipment. It's Randy's equipment.
See, that's what I got to be careful. Now that I'm working from home, this is now my desk. I paid for this.
You'll appreciate this. He's in Florida.
Is he not watching?
No, he's in Florida. And, but he doesn't want anybody to know he's in Florida. So he makes us say this crazy line when anybody ever calls to say that he's in Florida. But every listener knows he's in Florida. Everyone knows it. It's no secret, but he still thinks it's this big secret.
That's funny.
It's just funny.
And I love it. And now you're sharing it to the world and
that's
the
right.
4 people and the 4 people that are watching it.
You all know it now. The secret
Paul,
is out.
John, Mick.
I have shared.
You all now know the secret. The secret of Taylorville news is that. What do you got coming up here over these? I know you said you have.
I have college basketball tomorrow night against Northern Iowa University, and I'm telling you,
not Northern Iowa,
Upper Iowa. Sorry,
I was going to say
Upper Iowa University. Sorry, again.
Forrest is here too, so apparently
they got
secret.
They got Ava Privet, Katie Tornstrom, Kenzie Deaton, Amara Retriege, Abby Reederer, Amelia Brooke. Who else they got? Sydney, Mia, Elena, Kayla, Bailey, Avery, Helen, and Cassidy. If that ain't a bunch of white girl names, I ain't.
Yeah, we've got doubleheader on Friday for Grayson County basketball against Butler County. I've got a wedding on Saturday, and then on Sunday I'm doing a doubleheader. Center faces Oglethorpe.
Yeah, so UIS doubleheader tomorrow night, then senior night for the girls on Friday at home against Charleston. Then Saturday, Highland tournament down in St. Louis. It's just a whole lot of basketball.
Yeah, and then I'm excited. Tuesday, boys will host Central Hardin High School, and it is supposed to be butt cold here.
Oh yeah,
it's
week. like -5, guys.
Yeah,
I don't know wherever you're at, but it's supposed to be hella cold where we're at.
Yes, it's supposed to be very, very chilly here, and I know we're supposed to maybe have some of the S word. which I don't really like to talk about.
Naughty word.
Yes. But I guess it doesn't matter as much with me now working at home. I don't have to worry about driving in it.
What time do you have to be at work in the morning?
Huh? Well, I mean, now it's I have to make sure that I'm connected sitting right here by 9 a.m.
Oh man, that is rough.
Yeah,
that is rough.
What is it, about 10 steps?
Listen, you have no idea how legit jealous I am that you get to work from home, my friend.
This is so, like, for those watching, like, this is something brand new. Like, we have technically worked from home now for about a week now, but this is the first week we've been doing our morning show. But so here's an interesting inside baseball here, Leroy. And you use a Comrex, right?
Yeah.
When you're broadcasting in the field?
Yes, we use Comrex.
So, I wish I had mine in here because I could show it to you. But for those watching with us, since we like to go inside baseball on this, and we're already almost an hour and a half in, so why the heck not continue? So what a Comrex is, it is a piece of audio equipment that you plug our internet in, or we plug our, Paul, you're right. God forbid that internet goes out. In that case,
oh my gosh. No, that is like the devil for us.
Oh yeah.
That is a terrified nightmare.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right, Paul. But so what it does is we plug our microphones in and it sends it to the station so we can go on air. But what happens with it is that we have two feeds on the Comrex. We have what's called the local feed, which is what we're saying right away, and then what's the return feed, which is what's going out over air. So because of that, you hear everything twice. So you hear yourself in an echo. Now, when you're in the field, you have the ability to control how loud your return feed is. Leroy, I'm not sure how it is, but you've probably gotten to the level which is perfect for you. You need that return feed because that tells you whether you are on air or not. That's usually the way I describe it. Because once you hear yourself, you know you're on air, but you can also hear commercials and so on with that. So it's kind of interesting. So because of that, we have a return feed built into the system that we are using right now to broadcast our morning show. So I'm able to sit here, my boss is able to go at his house and so on. But because of that, we have a return feed that we can't turn off yet. So apparently they're going to fix it tomorrow. But so every day on the morning show, we are hearing everything go through twice. And what's really funny is that he plays music. So imagine listening to insert random song.
Yeah.
But you hear it twice at the same time. So you're hearing it in like double the speed. And it is the most, because it's like you're sitting there and all of a sudden it's like, and it's like, what is happening in my headset? But it's interesting. So apparently they're going to fix that because that's the biggest issue right now is that, and it's also because I'm having to focus because you want to make sure that you're replying to the quote unquote local feed and not the return feed because the local feed, if you wait to respond to the return feed, it takes longer and it sounds weird on air because the pro to this is to make it sound like we're in the same spot.
Yes.
And my boss technically has not made the comment on air that we are not in the same location.
Nice.
But it's funny because there's been a couple of times this week where I've been like, what's that you said? I didn't catch that. So it's just funny that these people are probably like, what happened to him? Why is he all of a sudden like not paying attention? It's like, no, I'm not paying attention. It's just that I can't understand when I'm hearing things multiple times in my head. But inside baseball for you.
So Taylorville will play Lincoln later on January 25th. Lincoln is a very good team. They have two girls who have 1,000 points, and they have not had a game where they're undefeated, but they have not had a game within 20 points as far as their victory.
I think I saw you share.
I posted it today. They've outscored their opponents
by almost 1,000, right?
1,429 to 554. Normal Community beat us by 6. Lincoln beat them 67 to 29.
Am I going to be picking that game?
Most likely. It's going to be a blood, and I'll spoil it for you. It's going to be a bloodbath.
So you said that's the 25th?
The 25th, yeah.
So that'll be Grace. You'll get to pick Grayson Edmondson, round 2.
Yeah. That's going to be a blood. And listen, I'm excited for it because it's two teams that don't really like each other. So, and they used to, like, Lincoln used to be in the Apollo Conference with us. They left. Yeah, Taylor will score. Oh, yeah. Taylor was too good not to score. I mean, we're 16-4.
Would the Lady Cougs score?
16-3. We're 16-3.
Would the Lady Cougs score?
But no, I'm telling you, like it's been. I mean, their best girl is headed to Colorado to play basketball out there for Colorado. I mean, I've never seen a team.
You've never sounded more northern than the way you just said Colorado.
Colorado. Yeah. Sorry.
I love the words that come out where the accent like really shines.
Really shines through.
Yes. And what is it? What state is that?
Colorado. Yeah.
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah, it's just funny with me. Like I'll hear that with words down here. It's like, what'd you say? What's that word?
But yeah, like their best girls going to Colorado, and they're just a dominant from the top all the way to the bottom. They are just a dominant team. So I'm not looking forward to that bloodbath.
It'll be fun once it happens, though.
Yeah,
gotta enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the bloodbaths are part of our job.
Yep.
Part of our job. We gotta make it sound.
We've all been accustomed to those kind of games on both sides.
I've done many of them.
Yes,
I've done many of them.
Yeah.
Leroy, it's been fun. Next week,
my friend,
we will have we'll probably talk a lot of NFL playoffs, about what happened over the weekend. Who knows? There could be NFL new head coaches. Will Jim Harbaugh?
Chargers.
So you're saying right now, is Jim Harbaugh the coach at Michigan next season?
No.
Is he a coach in the NFL?
Yes.
Interesting. Who's the coach at Michigan?
Anyone, Paul. Anyone they play is bloodbaths.
Who's the next coach at Michigan?
I think that assistant coach is the guy,
the offensive coordinator.
That subbed for him when he was out. I think he takes over the team. They like him. Right. They like him. He already knows the system.
Here you go. Urban Meyer.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Holy crap.
You can't tell me you wouldn't love that.
Heads would which fan base would be more mad?
I mean, you know what that would be, right?
What?
Rick Pitino.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Which oh my gosh.
Rick Pitino. The Michigan fans would hate it until he wins, and in that case, he'd be their guy. It's the same thing with Louisville.
We love you. Hey.
Yes. Hey, we remember you. That's right. You were good. We couldn't beat you. And then you hired the other guy, and now that's all we can do. But that's the question is Michigan, is Harbaugh their Urban Meyer, and they're going to promote the assistant, and it's just going to be, the same old with that. But we're getting too long on. I think we've hit our mark as the longest show ever, and we probably still could have gone more in talking more about all of these different aspects. But frankly, Leroy, we both have to be up in the morning. I'm sure you all have to be up. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Always appreciate everyone for the comments. Paul, John, Forrest,
tonight, guys. Thank you so
Daniel.
much. We appreciate every single one of you. More than
absolutely. Yes, and makes us enjoy this even more. But Leroy, we'll see you next week. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.